Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Siphumelele Zondi with your technology and social media news. Remember that you can be a part of our tech conversation. You can find us on SABC Network. Now that's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. This week, our Twitter poll is asking you if you trust your children when they are on their own online. This as YouTube has announced that they will be taking down adult content that seems to be targeting children. Results of that poll are coming up later in the program. The Fak'ugesi Digital Innovation Festival has started in the Braamfontein area of Johannesburg. As part of this annual festival, digital artists from all across the African continent have been invited to participate. Producer Sandile Hlangani met up with them.
The Fak'ugesi African Digital Innovation Festival has officially launched. It's promising to transform Braamfontein into a celebration of technology, creativity and innovation from across the African continent. The theme for this year's Fak'ugesi is Own Your Force and will focus on ownership and cultural equity in digital culture and its practices in Africa and the world.
This year's theme is very much in line with everything that's been happening around the continent, around the diaspora for the longest time. It's now been crystallized over the last few years into something tangible. Own your force. Everything that is about you, that makes you African, that makes you beautiful, strong, powerful, graceful, courageous and wise, everything all about that is all about owning it. For the longest time we've been selling our abilities as commodities, but now it's about taking a step back, looking at what it is that makes us so special and owning it.
A highlight in this year's Fak'ugesi is the annual Digital Africa Residency, which will bring together aspiring young digital artists from the SADC region.
The work I do is always about translating events to sound, to texture, to textile things, using architectural tectonics and architectural elements.
I use different mediums at different times. Often I use video when I want to show the performative elements. I'll use video and I'll create characters and perform and act and record them. Or I use digital collages, and with those I obviously create narratives through imagery, through creating alternative worlds. I usually like to play around with like ideas of space or just alternative environments that you wouldn't just find a normal girl like me.
I work mainly with open source technology, so free software, and very much into hackerspaces and makerspaces in order to a way to appropriate technology to make new kind of tools to storytell other kind of stories or alternative storytelling.
Attendees can expect a fresh and energized lineup that explores screen-based digital creativity in gaming, virtual reality, mixed reality, and animation.
This year, it's going to be everything they've experienced in the past in terms of like the amazing tech, the amazing digital arts that comes out, and more.
The festival is the only one of its kind in Africa and the only digital arts focused festival in sub-Saharan Africa.
When a lot of us are online, we worry about whether we're safe there, whether our credit card details are not going to be stolen, and what to do when such happens. These were some of the discussions at a recent Uber roundtable. Producer Lebogang was there.
In the era of the so-called Fourth Industrial Revolution, life is said to become easier. With technologies such as automation, cloud computing, to name a few, various industries are beginning to see an evolution of short turnaround time as well as efficiency. However, in all its glory, the digital era also comes with its troubles, namely security. This issue was discussed at the Tech for Safety Summit hosted by Uber.
Technology can be used to make our communities safer, to make our roads safer. I think there's so much benefit that technology can bring, and we really just want to encourage more debate and discussion and awareness around the topic.
Industry players also emphasize the importance of collaboration in protecting communities in these digital times.
Some of the speakers on the panel said that it's a responsibility that we all have. You know, I think it was Emilia from Facebook, who mentioned that the company itself can only do so much, but it is up to us as users as well to ensure that we follow the policies, you know. So we are putting people at a risk by opening accounts for them if they're not at age yet, you know. I don't know how many South Africans know that you need to be 13 years old to not only just have a Facebook account or WhatsApp account, but an email address as well, you know. So yeah, let's be conscious of that, and also let's work together and include everybody.
The Tech for Safety Summit took place in Johannesburg in collaboration with South Africa's Department of Communications.
Normally, it's very difficult to learn African languages online, but now there's a new app that teaches you isiZulu. It's keeping that part of African heritage alive in digital spaces, at least.
Indlovu, ingwenya, inyoni.
Ambani is really a learning platform. We wanted to create resources for learning African culture and learning African languages, and it was also important for us to use technology as far as possible. So what we do really is that we support the education system, we support education through creating learning resources that use technology to make learning a more holistic experience for young learners. So right now we are focused on early childhood development. So our age group is anyone from the age of 3 to about 7 years old, and that's really the age bracket we're working with. A lot of our resources at the moment also support the existing education system. So we're looking at what kids are already learning at this age, and we're saying how can we support that or create resources that make that a little bit better. So you can download our free app. It's called Ambani. As soon as you get on it, you get to just click play, and then you can select the different languages you want to use. So once you have the set of cards, you can actually use them in different languages. So I'm going to select isiZulu for our example. We take the dog card, right? We've got our app that's open, and it's got access to our camera. So we basically place the card in front of us, and then place and then we place the actual camera in front of the cards, and the cards come to life. So it'll give you a sound, it'll tell you what the animal is, and you'll be able to hear and see and play around with the card. It's really a holistic way of learning versus just sort of reading or writing. So anyone who can't necessarily use all of those can use different senses to learn, which I think is an advantage of using technology for learning.
After the break, producer Lebogang Madise sits down with Saloshni Mutal from Vodacom. They chat about tech opportunities for women in the technology sector. It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Stay with us.
I actually don't know of any opportunities, and I've never even bothered looking for them because I feel like the tech space is for males.
It's the fourth industrial revolution. We're there, so everything is a tech space. So it's not necessarily something I look for, it's something that finds me.
I think it's a very, very wide community and space of opportunities. So I do look for opportunities in the tech space because I think as women, it comes from us, we need to empower ourselves.
At the end of the day, whether you're a man or a woman, it's totally up to you to equip yourself to know about a certain technology. For example, a camera or a cell phone.
Producer Lebogang Madise chats to Saloshni Mutal from Vodacom about tech opportunities for women.
Hi Sal, and thank you for joining us here at Network. Now, we want to talk about gender diversity in the tech space. What do you think of that?
I definitely think we need more of it. And there's a lot of research that actually shows that the more diverse an organization is in terms of gender, but also in terms of like ethnicity, age, etc., the more successful they are. you get much more stronger teams, you get very different points of view, and especially in industries like ourselves where there's a lot of disruption happening, you actually do need diversity of thought, and for diversity of thought you definitely need diversity in an organization.
Since you've been in this technology space, what are some of your challenges in this career?
In technology, there's an image of who should be the right fit for the company, and generally it is male definitely, and of a specific racial profile, a specific age. I never ever fit any of those criteria in my career. But I'm passionate about technology because I really believe that technology empowers, technology can actually level the playing field and make us put us all on an equal status. So because technology is my passion and it excites me so much, I was willing to break down the barriers to actually get to where I wanted to go. But I have to say that I did it with a lot of help from mentors and champions who also believed in me, and at various points in my career stepped up for me and took a risk on me and dared to allow me space to do things that paid off for the company, and in that way I then built my own credibility. Unfortunately with women, I know many women may not get that chance, which is why it's so important for a company to actually have those things in place that will allow a female to shine.
Now we go to a lot of tech summits and tech events, and what keeps on being reiterated is the importance for children to take STEM subjects. But then you see in other cases that government officials or head honchos, they're always stressing about STEM, but they never marry it with mentorship. So that's sort of confusing to little ones. What can you add to that?
I am definitely passionate about us improving access to and awareness and education around the importance of STEM subjects at a school level. We really need to get not just our young girls, but also our young boys very interested in STEM sort of subjects, because STEM is so important to the growth of a country, and the more waves of people that can come into STEM industries or that can think around, when you look at countries in the East like Asia, right, Korea and China, their growth has exploded because of their focus on STEM and the fact that they've cultivated waves and waves of younger people that are coming into the workplace or coming into adulthood, being very proficient in sort of STEM areas. And not only do these people go on to work in companies and then move the STEM agenda for the country forward, but these are also the people that become the innovators and the disruptors, and they come up with new and amazing ideas that become new and amazing technologies. And I think for the development of our nation, it is really important that that sort of thinking is also applied when we think about our own schools. Obviously, one of the biggest barriers to STEM in South Africa at a school level is the fact that we have a lot of different languages. And until the curricula and the textbooks and the teaching can also be taught in vernacular languages, it's very hard for somebody to become proficient in maths or science if English is already, if English is the barrier. So for me, there's also work to be done when it comes to the way we actually take our curricula to the student in schools. And then STEM can be so intimidating. You could have one negative experience with maths in grade 4, and that could probably make you feel like you hate maths for the rest of your life. Interesting story, I've never loved maths in high school, but going into university I was forced to take statistics, and I developed this lifelong love for statistics, even though maths kind of scarred me in high school. So you need to generate some excitement and enthusiasm around STEM.
Now Sal, you're the executive head of consumer IoT here at Vodacom. So people don't really understand what terms like IoT mean, and they get intimidated when they hear such words. What are some of the basic elements should consumers look out for when we talk about IoT?
So IoT, or the Internet of Things, is really what you get when smart things start talking to other smart things, other smart platforms, other smart technologies and other smart systems. And the value of all of that is that you actually have this ecosystem of connected information that actually adds value not just to you as a consumer, because you become more aware or more smarter about the things that are happening in your home or in your life in particular, like on your health. We all are using wearables these days, and I mean, since the advent of Fitbit, I like to believe that I am much more empowered about my health, and that with that information, I'm making maybe some smarter decisions about how to live a better, more healthier lifestyle. So in the same way, you know, having access to this information about the things that are happening in your life is actually quite empowering. So for me, the value of the Internet of Things is not that you can just have a smart home or that your home can be now automated and that you clap your hands and the coffee machine starts and, you know, brewing your coffee. For me, the value of it in a country like South Africa is that a smart automated home, for example, could put you in control of your energy and utility management. And energy and utility management, water management, these are like big concerns for South African citizens, right? But it's so difficult for you to feel empowered because you're at the mercy of like sort of blackouts, load shedding, water restrictions. But at the same time, if you had sort of smart sensors and the IoT, consumer IoT devices in your home, you could be on top of that. So you'll always be reassured that your home is protected, that you, if you have kids, you know, you're not suddenly going to have a water restriction that's going to affect you. And also you'll have a smarter life because you manage your energy and your utility consumption.
Now let's take it back to the beginning of your career. How was it starting off? I'm sure it was obviously it still is a male-dominated space.
Yeah.
So were you a bit intimidated by, you know, all of the testosterone surrounding you?
I mean, I think I was fortunate in a way because I started off on a graduate trainee program with a very well-known international company, which is actually one of the best companies to work for in South Africa. They consistently rated as such. And they gave me a bit of a God complex as they did all their management trainees, and by really, you know, teaching them the world of work, but at the same time doing a lot to say to them, your opinion, even though you are so green and unpolished, is as important as somebody with 20 years of seniority. And what was really great, because it was a very formative job and role in my career, because it was my starting job, they impressed on me that it didn't matter your background, where you came from, what degree, what university you attended. If you made it to this company, that meant they saw something in you, and then your career was basically open to you, and there was no barrier.
Thank you so much, Sal, for being a part of our network. Hopefully I'll be seeing you again soon.
Thank you so much for having me, Lebo.
Hi, my name is Pinky Kikana. My favorite use of technology is a juice maker because it makes me to detox, to eat correctly, and make sure that my skin and my health becomes pashasha.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Welcome back. Now here's what else took place in the rest of the world in the technology sector.
Basil Okpara Jr. loves video games, but he loves making them even more. At the age of 9, the Nigerian boy has created dozens of games. He called the first one Frog Attack. The players shoot alien frogs that have attacked the earth.
Frog Attack is my favorite because it was my first game that I built on Construct 2 and it's full of action.
With 4 months of Frog Attack, Basil has created 34 other games using a free coding application called Scratch 2. Scratch 2 allows users to create games, animation and other digital stories online or offline. In April 2019, Basil's father signed him up for a bootcamp called Code First, where he learned coding, computer programming, and how to create mobile games and other skills.
I started coding this year and it was a bootcamp that taught me how to code. The name of the bootcamp was Code First. And why I like to build games because the games are much fun to play. And when I play them, I feel like I'm the owner of a game. First, I pick this when green flag kick, and so when I click the green flag, the goat starts to run, and I make it to go to the top again and come down. Then I set go to random position again, indicate my apples. So there are now 2 apples that are falling. Now I can run my application. Now I can play.
Basil's most recent game is the Falling Apples, where a player tries to catch as many apples as one possible can and gets a point for every apple caught.
My mom and my dad have already tried my game and they say they love it. My mommy says she loves the fallen apples and my daddy also said that he loves the frog attack.
During his spare time, he puts other kid coders through the space of game programming.
I tell other children to do more and also be like me, and also to try more on their own. What they didn't teach them, they should explore more on scratch.
Basil's dad is a consultant and a public speaker. He first found out about his son's love for games at age 4, then went on to invest in getting him a tablet, then a desktop, and most recently, a laptop of his own.
When I found out that he's interested in technology, I was excited because I know that there's a huge potential in the technology industry around the world. You know, being able to write codes, being able to build things, being able to program robots, to program something to behave the way you want it to behave is very exciting. So I didn't have that opportunity growing up. So I felt like it was important to support him to do whatever he wants to do.
Basil is on Instagram as @BJR Games, and his games will be on Google Play Store by mid-September. Anthony Lewandowski, a pioneer in self-driving car technology, was criminally charged with stealing trade secrets from his former employer Google before joining rival Uber Technologies. His lawyers said Anthony stole nothing and that they looked forward to proving his innocence at trial. Anthony, 39, pleaded not guilty to the charges through one of his lawyers. The judge set a preliminary bail package of 300,000 cash. Another hearing to set final bail terms was scheduled for September, as government lawyers said they needed more time to assess Anthony's finances. 25-year-old Muhammad Jaffa lost his left hand in January this year while he was part of a vigilante group formed to protect his neighborhood in Yola, northern Nigeria. Jaffa helped rescue a teenage girl who was kidnapped by a criminal gang known for mugging residents and creating insecurity in the city. He recently got fitted with a new 3D printed prosthetic arm and is now able to earn a living as a tailor.
The limb has helped me in reducing the humiliation I used to feel. When I put it on, it covers the parts that was cut off from my arm, and most people cannot differentiate between the limb and my real arm.
Like Jaffa, many other amputees who live in northeast Nigeria now have access to prosthetics thanks to a team of developers at Yola's Innovation Hub. The hub was set up in 2018 by the Nigerian government to encourage tech companies to find innovative ways of solving some of the region's social problems.
The lab itself hasn't really been operational for more than like 2 months, and we're already impacting close to 6 kids with limbs, including I think a police officer also who lost his limb in the line of duty. We've also provided a 3D limb for him, so it's much cheaper, much cheaper.
Jaffa's prosthetic hand is controlled by the movement of muscles prompted by the brain.
It's not just printing the limbs, but also now adding robotics to it to improve functionality. So with robotics, you now have sensors coming in within which a model of thought is designed and transmitted for the user.
Tiani and his colleagues say they will continue working to offer as many cutting-edge features to recipients like Jaffa.
As YouTube has announced that they will be removing adult-themed content that's targeting children. This week, our Twitter poll is asking if you think your children are safe when they're surfing the internet on their own. Now, 10% of respondents say they feel that their children are safe. The overwhelming majority, that number is at 70%, feel that their children are not safe when they're surfing the internet on their own. In last place is 7%. Those say they do not allow their children to surf the internet on their own. And then there's 13% who say they just don't care about this. That's it. That's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network. Now that's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. It's newsnetwork@sabc.co.za on email. From me, Siphumelele Zondi and the rest of the team, have a good one. It's bye-bye.